competition. And I don't know how you feel about it. How do you feel about competition? We were kind of talking in the intros here that there are some people who they're not into competition at all. They're not into sports. But sports isn't the only place where you have competition, obviously, and that's kind of where this call is going to go here today. But there are some people who they don't like competition, and there's some people who love it. So in other words, people respond very differently to competition. Some people, kind of view competition as a negative, and they don't want to engage in it at all. And others are highly driven by competition. These are the people that they've got that will to win. They need to create an advantage, and they need to measure themselves. And I'll be honest with you guys, competition, truthfully, the only thing competition is a way to measure yourself against other people. That's what it is. It's a measuring stick, all right? I view competition as motivation. Why? To measure myself against other people. Okay, now I'm going to relate this all to building this business. Okay, now when I play golf, the only person I'm in competition with is myself. I play golf with guys that are better than me. Most of the time, the guys that I play with are better than me, and so the only person that I'm really trying to compete with is myself. When I'm on the racquetball court, I'm definitely playing against my opponent. Okay. So in a sports world, yes, I compete against my opponent. In other sports, I compete against myself, that kind of thing. But in this business, I use competition as a motivator. Okay. My goal is to compete against anybody in this business as far as top income earners, top recruiters, the most volume, and registration at events. That drives me. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just talking about competition today and what that means to you. To me, it means motivation. Why? Because I chase the top income earners. I chase the top recruiters. I chase the people that have the most volume. And I want my team to have the most people at events. Now, is that wrong? Is it wrong to do that? It's like, no. It's like you can't hit a target that you can't see. And so I see the top income earners, in this business, and I'm like, okay, there's my competition. There's my target. I look at the people who are recruiting the most people, and I'm like, all right, well, you got 15 this month. That means I'm going to go put 18 in the business. And I don't know why I do that. It just drives me. And like I said, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's always helped me in my business, and maybe it could help you to have a little competition, amongst the people in your organization, or maybe even a competition with yourself. Guys, I remember in the 90s, doesn't that seem like 100 years ago when I say the 90s? It's like, wow, it seems like a long time ago. 90s, guys, we're talking 20, almost 30 years ago, 34 years ago, that I got started in this business. But I had a business partner, and which I would not recommend anybody to do. I mean, it worked out for us, but in most cases, partnerships don't work out in businesses like this because one person ends up doing most of the work, and then are you going to split the money 50-50, blah, blah, blah. Well, the guy that I was a partner with, we grew up together. We were, college roommates. He was the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding. Everything just worked out. But we realized very, very quickly that if we were in the same room, it was counterproductive. It's like we were out there trying to build the business, but why were we in the same room? It's like, no, you go do a meeting over here, I'll go do a meeting over here. But every night, and we did it every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then we did trainings on Saturdays. I'd be in Chicago, he'd be here in Milwaukee, or he'd be in Minneapolis and Green Bay and all around the country. But every night, we would talk on the way home. We'd be driving home from our meetings, and I'd say, how was your meeting tonight? He'd go, no, how was yours? I'm like, no, how was yours? He'd go, well, how many people did you have? I'm like, no, how many people did you have? And we'd have this little competition with each other. How many people joined your business? How many people joined the business tonight? And so I was in competition with my own business partner. Okay? Why? Because it just drove me. It absolutely drove me to higher success in the business. Now, inside our company right here, guys, we all have a certain market share. We all have a certain market share. Right? If you've got one customer or you've got one associate, you've got a certain percentage of the market share in this company. And I looked at that. That was always a driving factor for me too. If I was 1% of the productivity of the company, okay, my goal was to increase that to 3% and 5% and then 10%. And until I look back and went, yeah, I'm X amount percentage of this company. I'll give you an example, guys. We do a call on Fridays, and all of the vice presidents and above are on that call. And usually we have about 15 people on that call. And I look at it, and 5 of the 15 people are in my organization. So I'm like, all right, I am 33% of this call. I'm trying to get that to 40% and then 50%. And then I want to look at that and go, all right, I am 85%. I don't know why I think this way, you guys, but it's always something that drives me. I always want more. And it has to do with competition. There's a target out there. Like I think I said on a call the other day that there's always somebody who is better at something than I am. Okay? They're better recruiters. They're better customer gatherers. They're better this, that, and the other thing. And I try to figure out what they're doing, and I try to be better. And by me telling you all of this here today, I want you to kind of develop that mindset. I want you to develop that mindset. If the company comes out with something new, which obviously these patches, the patches that just came out, I want everybody on my team to get them the second that they're released. And so when we had the opportunity to become founders, I'm like, I want everybody in my group to become a founder. It's like, no, let's become founders, because that's going to give us an advantage down the road somewhere. Well, now founders are able to pick up these new patches right now. We can go get these patches early. If the company had a convention, I wanted to grow the percentage of people that I had at the event from convention to convention. If I had 1% of if my team made up 1% of the people that were there, well, the next time I wanted it to be 10%. If there's 1,000 people in the room, I wanted 100 people in my group to be there. This deal in Dallas, you guys, we got it. Let's figure this out. If you haven't gotten your tickets for Dallas yet, go make it happen, because that is an event that you don't want to miss. And why do I say that? Because you can never bring home the excitement from an event. Like what they did over in Germany was nuts. That event was crazy, and I had major FOMO. The fear of missing out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed to be in that room. And then I hope you felt, oh man, I needed to be in that room. Well, okay, the next opportunity to be in the room is Dallas. And we need to put a very, very large percentage of people from our team and your team in the room. And that's why we talk about it almost every single day. I want to get as many, people to that event as I possibly can. And again, you guys, for me, competition in this business, it's about new customers. It's about new associates. It's about the percentage of people who rank advance in the company. I call, when I talk to Jay, and I'll say, Jay, how many people promoted, in the company? And he'll give me a number. And then I go back and look at how many people promoted on our team. I'm like, okay, we got to drive that up. We got to drive that. I want the majority of rank promotions to come from our team. So like I said, I don't know if this is good or bad. To me, it drives me. It absolutely drives me. And maybe you should have that little I don't know, that little something extra that says, all right, I'm gonna go push this thing. Something that pushes you a little bit harder. And listen, what pushes me is national vice president. It's like, okay, but how am I going to get to national vice president? Well, by helping a whole bunch of people Rank advance. Well, how am I going to do that? Making sure that a whole bunch of people get on my Zooms. Well, how am I going to do that? Making sure that the leaders know that our Zooms are this time, this and the trainings are this time, and just making sure that everybody plugs in. So it's kind of a stair-step effect, but it's what drives me. And listen, even if you're brand new, even if you are a brand new person in this business, measure yourself against yourself. Just measure yourself against yourself. Your market share should increase every single day. Like every day, your volume should increase. And that's because somebody in your group, including you, signed up a new customer, signed up a new associate who came in with one of the kits, something. We should have that market share increasing every single day. And what you're doing, it's you against you. In reality, guys, this business is you against you. Now, I'm at a point where I look at this and go, no, it's bigger than that for me. I want our team to dominate this thing. And you guys should have that same attitude. You should have that same attitude. It's like, no, I'm going to get my team to go dominate this thing. But in the beginning, it's like just move ahead a little bit. Every single day, make sure that your volume is bigger than it was the day before, and so on, and so on, and so on. And make it your goal to have that number, whatever that number is, whether it's new people joining your group, new customers, or volume. Just make sure that that number is going in a positive direction.